So you were primarily working to black audiences at that time?
Yeah, my first. It went from coffee houses and theater, like movie theaters, not theaters. Like they had these movie theaters in Vegas where there would be some nights where they didn't show movies and they would do a comedy night. So you'd have this big screen behind you, and just seats randomly. They would put people there. It just looked like miserable people in the casino that ran out of money and said, "Fuck it, there's a free show over here," and they would just sit and watch you and just make you feel bad because they were miserable. And yeah, it went from that to ComicView, and then I did the TV show ComicView, and I got a standing O that night. So that was my claim to fame on that, because I was submitting that tape to everybody, man. And then from there I got the Black Comedy Tour, where we toured all the colleges, and with the Black Comedy Tour, these colleges wanted diversity, so they couldn't just have a black lineup. They always had to have at least one cat that was white, Asian, or Latino, and I was all of them. They're like, they're like, "You got a Latino?" "Yes, his name's Jo Koy. He's from the Philippines."
Is that Latino? Doesn't matter.
Yeah. "Do you got a white comic?" "Yes, it's Jo Koy. His dad is white. Doesn't really know his dad, but he's white." So yeah, and I did that for about 2 years, and I got on the Def Comedy Jam tour. It was crazy, man. I got on the Apollo. I won the Apollo.
Oh yeah, you didn't get booed at the Apollo?
Yeah, I won it, man. I didn't. They booed the comic before me, and then I won it. Yeah, that was crazy.
I've gone to the Apollo.
Back in the day, though, back in the '90s, like when it was hardcore.
Yeah. I went in the 2000s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
But even then, I remember it was brutal. It was like
still brutal.
One wrong word, and you were just rained down by boos.
They'll help carry you out.
Right, and then the guy with the broom comes out.
Yeah, dance. Oh man. Oh, he did that like at least 3 times on my show, and I was just like, I remember my heart was pounding on the outside of my chest, because I was like, if this man comes out and dances during my act, it's a wrap. It's a wrap, you know what I mean? I told everybody I was going to do the Apollo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was back in the day where there wasn't that many TV channels. Mm-hmm. So everyone knew what channel the Apollo was on, you know? It would have killed me, man. So thank God I won that one. Rudy Rush gave me that. So big shout out to Rudy, man. That was amazing.
So what was it like being, a white/Asian comic with black audiences?
But the thing is, comedy's comedy, As long as you're funny, you're funny. That's what I love about black audiences. They're the most honest. Out of all of them, and I hate to segregate audiences, but it literally is like that. You have your black audiences, you have your white audiences, you have your Latino and Asian audiences. And as long as you're funny, man, people laugh. Laughter is it's universal. You know what I mean? They know it's funny. And they know it sucks. It's just black audiences really let you know it sucks.
Like, have you gotten booed before?
Oh, yeah. But that was with any audience. I've gotten booed. Dude, I did a show in Idaho, man. I wanted to run to the car and just leave the town. You know what I mean? It was bad. Boise, Idaho, man. I remember I did that gig. It took me 8 hours to get there. And I was willing to, get in the car and go 8 hours back, because I was like, I can't hang out here. They hate me.
Like, what was the worst thing that's happened during
the worst
stand-up?
Was also in Idaho. I was crowd working. I was opening for some comic. I forgot his name, but I was doing crowd work, and they just had a table to my left, just unruly. And I remember every time I kept doing some type of sex joke, they kept saying some girl's name, and I just said it. I forgot her name, and I was like, "Is Becky like the town whore?" Like that, right? And then dude stands up in the middle of the room in front of, because this thing was a nightclub, by the way. Yeah. So there was no seats on the dance floor because they didn't want to ruin the dance floor. It was one of those towns.
Okay.
So they sat everybody on the outside of the dance floor. Could you visualize what it looks like?
It's weird, yeah.
And then of course there was a drum set behind me because I'm performing for a band that's going to come out and kill it. And all they had was a spotlight way at the back of the room, and you just see this cowboy just stand up in front of the spotlight like it was out of a movie, and you just see the cowboy hat and everything, And I'm looking at this silhouette, and he's like, "That's my sister, man." And I'm like, "Fuck!" Like I just froze. And then now I'm begging for my life. I'm like, "Hey, you know I'm joking." Like, you know what I mean? And then I did this whole thing about I can't fight. I'm a bitch. Like, you fighting me is not fair, because I'm not gonna fight. You're a cowboy. You're just gonna rope me. I remember saying that. You're gonna rope me in like 5 seconds. And I remember getting on my back, and I had my hands next to my ankles, and then he loved that. Like, I was performing for one man at that point, and he loved it. He's like, all right, I'll get you a drink. And I was like, oh, man, no, you're not. I'm fucking out of here when this is done. But that was it, man. That was one of those, There's like 3 gigs that stand out. That's the one that stands out the most. Idaho, and then there was another one at the Comedy Store, and where I had all these people coming out to write up about me.
Snitch on you?
No, they were going to do a write-up, like an article, like,
Oh, okay.
Young comic Jo Koy comes to L.A. And I was so excited, man. I was like, oh, I'm going to get a magazine write-up. And, dude, I ate my ass on stage for like 8 minutes. And I remember when I got off, the writer walked up to me. He was like, we'll reschedule.
We'll give you another chance.
We'll reschedule. Okay, Joe? Let's not write about this. I don't think we want this on print.
Right.
I'll come back. Maybe in a year. That fucker never came back.
Well, at least he didn't give you a bad run.